Today I'm changing the spark plugs on a 1.4 TFSI. This particular one is in an Audi, but it will be in all the VAG group cars. So you may see it with a VW, Skoda or Seat badge on the engine cover. I've got 4 T30 Torx screws to remove the engine cover. Now these are the coils which we need to remove to get to the spark plugs, and I haven't come across this particular setup before. I've come across the coils with the connectors pointing up at an angle with a bit more access, but we've got this plastic cage that is quite obstructive, and there are videos online with methods on how to get these out using cable ties. That's absolutely fine, but I think they miss a couple of steps when it comes to this area here. I think that you're very likely to cause damage if you don't take a couple of extra steps at this side of the engine, so hence the video. Now the reason I did end up looking online, which I don't normally do, is because I was struggling to get the coils out, and there isn't much room to get, you can't get your fingers underneath. I did actually manage to pull this one out with a couple of Bojo tools, but the method shown in other videos is using cable ties. Otherwise you have to have a special tool from VW which goes under the sides of the coil and is able to lift them. The cable tie method is okay for a couple of them. It seems quite easy. You just shove a cable tie under here and it comes back to the other side. But on a couple of them, or 3 of them in fact, it is actually quite difficult to insert the cable tie and to get it to come back on the other side of the coil. It gets lost in the plastic. So 2 of these coils aren't that difficult to remove. We can either use a couple of Bojo tools, which I've managed to do to lift this second one, and you'll want to be careful not to put pressure on this rocker breather. For number 3, the cable tie is easy enough to insert pretty much if you bend it first. We're not strong enough. Try a bigger cable tie, so bent an end so that it doesn't go straight under the plastic surround, and we have got it on. As you can see, it's an older engine now. It's not been serviced for a while, and the coils are much harder to remove than other videos might make you believe. This is a tough one. So now we've got the coil loose, the connector to remove it, the clip is underneath. It's a normal VW connector and we just need to pull it. Well, we can be pretty sure that the spark plugs have been done before, because if you look at the state of this coil, someone's damaged it trying to remove it a different way by prying up on this side. We haven't been anywhere near this side of the coil, so we know that we couldn't have caused that damage. And also, someone's pried the electrical connector off with a metal tool, no doubt, which you'll see in other videos, people using screwdrivers, when there are plenty of good quality plastic tools that you can use, such as the Bojo tools. It's a good habit to keep the coils in order. If I'm just changing the spark plugs, I don't normally bother writing a number on, but I'd usually just put them at the back of the engine in order. So this is the coil that I managed to pull up with 2 Bojo tools. Still very, very difficult. And remove the electrical connector. So sometimes with these VW ones, if you're struggling to get them off, if you push them on and then pull them off while pressing the clip, that usually does it. So we've still got cylinder 1 and 4 to remove. Now with cylinder 4, you'll want to remove this breather pipe here, plastic breather pipe. This is likely to get damaged while removing the 4th coil, but what I would also do is remove this charge pipe going to the turbo, because it's actually only 2 screws, 2 clips, an electrical connector and a few hoses just sort of sat in. It's not difficult to remove, but it gives us a lot more access. It reduces the risk of damaging any of the cables, and it will make it easier to remove the 4th coil. And then the other side of this end of the pipe, got a plastic clip on both sides. I find it's easier to remove this one first and then the other one. So you have quite a bit of wiggle in the pipe itself. So if you undo this clip on the right hand side while pushing the pipe left, you see it's above and disengaged now. Then without pushing the right hand side down, undo the clip on the left hand side and lift the pipe up. So this is out of position now. So watch out for the pipes that are attached to it, just clipped in, including the plastic pipe that we'll be removing. So you may have noticed there was a gap here when we removed the plastic clip that went over here, and this allows you to push the charge pipe this way, which gives you a bit more room to disconnect it at the other end. And now this is completely detached. I've got all this extra room here. Now I'm quite glad that I did the job this way, because I found that this O-ring here was snapped, and that's why we've got this oily residue all over the engine and underneath this pipe. And it's strange because actually it's got quite a clean cut there. Looks like it might have been sliced, but that's a good find. It does fix another problem while we're doing another job. This rubber hose can just be tucked back out of the way, if it'll stay somewhere. This pipe here, squeeze on the sides of the connector and pull it out of the way. Don't put too much pressure on this. This is a hard plastic pipe, so we want to be careful not to crack that. I'm going to undo this connector which clips over the wiring harness. This is just in case we need to lift it up slightly with this wiring here, but we've already got this extra space which should stop any damage occurring to the wiring harness. So now we've got all this extra room, let's see if we can manage to get a cable tie round coil 4. So I'm just bending the end to try and make it go where we want it to, and it's quite a small gap at the back on this one, so I'm not sure. I'd have used a small cable tie, but as we've seen, they're not strong enough. Nearly. I've just about got it in the right place. It doesn't appear to be coming back up. It's ready, it's in the right place, but oh, there we go. Look at that. So I've got that joined up. As we've seen from the other coils, that doesn't necessarily guarantee that it's going to be easy to get out now. even just turning the coil slightly can loosen it slightly on the head of the spark plug, but I don't think that's the only way that it's clipped. I think it's clipped in the port as well. Ow. I'm not sure even having a special tool would help with this. This is insane. This car's on about 80,000 miles. I would assume, based on the damage that's already on here, that it's had at least one plug change. But it doesn't look like anyone's left any grease on anything, or absolute nightmare. Ah, God. Ah, ow. Yeah, so you can probably see how, if they're that stiff and one comes out like that, you're going to damage whatever's over here. So we did the right thing, removing the charge pipe, undoing this clamp. So you get a better view of the connector that goes underneath. Normal VW clip. So that's coil number 4. So finally we're on to cylinder 1, and I think I found a way to get the cable tie in position. So I'm sticking a Bojo tool in there just to give us a bit of an extra gap. I've put plenty of a bend in the cable tie, and hopefully there we go. Just hoping this won't be the hardest one to remove. My hands are very sore from removing the other three. Wow. Finally managed to get a screwdriver in the right place where it won't do any damage, and it's allowed me to get the final coil out of position. It's pretty obvious from the damage to the coils that whoever's removed them before hasn't used a VW tool. I don't think that a VW tool would make all that much difference, even holding the coil in this area here. Still very, very difficult to remove them. Now on to what I guess has to be the easy bit at this point. So we've got a 10mm spark plug socket. Well, thankfully, it doesn't look like the spark plugs are being over tightened. The new spark plugs we've got are NGK laser platinums. Careful when you're opening the spark plug not to drop it on the floor. They do have this cardboard protector on, but you won't want to damage the spark plug gap. Place the new spark plug in the spark plug socket so it's securely held, and gently insert the new spark plug until it's finger tight. So that's at the bottom of its travel now. Got two types of spark plug. Got one that doesn't have a washer, and we've got the type with a washer separate. So for this one, at this point there isn't a torque rating. We just need to tighten the spark plug by 1/2 to 2/3 of a turn from where it is when it's hand tight. So a 1/4 of a turn, 1/2 a turn, and as much as 3/4, but between 1/2 and 3/4 of a turn. That's pretty tight now, so we'll leave it at that. And now repeat the same for the other 3 cylinders, spark plugs. I'll just quickly, this is the separate washer type of spark plug that we've got on here. Place the coils from the positions they were removed from. So we've got 4, 3, 2, 1. Applying some WD to the rubbers where it joins to the spark plug and where it sits in the top of the rocker cover. We need to reattach the connector before pushing the coil back fully down onto the new spark plug. Refit the charge pipe, taking care to refit the breathers. Got this cable clip here for the harness. Make sure that the coil wiring's tucked back in properly. Breather reconnected. Rubber pipe back where it was. Attach the front side first. then push the back down until both clips are holding it back in position. Attach the connector for the pressure sensor and refit the plastic bracket on the front. Just make sure that any pipes that were held on to the charge pipe are pushed back into position. Finally, we can start the car. Happy that it's running well. Replace the engine cover, and that'll be job done.